Okay, so here is what my frame looks like at the moment. So I've got my two main uprights out of 80/20 extrusion, and then I've got plates that are custom made, which are attached to the uprights using these L brackets. Here is my plan for the center lift mechanism. So I've got these two lifters here, and they're obviously driven by a ball screw that'll lift that back and forth. It's intended to be, like horizontal for an axis for a CNC, but this works just as well. I don't have this attached yet, but that's going to give me a ability to use a 10mm belt on these. There'll be a plate going across the top that the motor will be attached to. The second one, I need to make some adjustments because it's just a teeny bit crooked, so I need to get that straightened out, and that way they'll be totally parallel to one another. The center leg will be attached between the two plates there, and that's going to ride up and down. The frame here is inspired by Kevin's, where you can take the skins off. So I've got two different plates here, whereas he's got one piece that's been machined out along this groove. I used two different size plates and just sandwich them together. So that gives me the little shelf to go on there. Here is like the back skin lower frame. I need to do some sanding to get the tolerances taken down a bit so it'll actually slide on the full distance. This down here was a bad attempt at making the shoulder hole, which is there. My shoulders are going to be in here like this, where the other side is flush, like so. This side I need to have turned down by just a little bit. They're 2.25. That's just the teeniest bit too big to be able to fit into my actual shoulder wheel hubs. So here's one right here. So this is what I'm using to attach the shoulder to. That's a wheel hub off of a Ford Windstar, according to the eBay article. It's got bearings already built into it, super sturdy. This right here is meant for an optical encoder to be able to gauge the speed of the wheel, but I'm going to use that as an actual gear. I have some custom gear parts on the way that I got on Big Blue Saw's Black Friday sale. See, it's just the teeniest bit too big. I need to be able to have this slide in and out easily, but still remain snug without wobble. So I need that turned down just a little bit. I gotta find somebody who can do that. Here is what my front skin looks like. It's got the lower frame attached. There's the arm carrier, and then I've got my large data port, which goes right up there. I'm going to have those braced together in some way, probably just a little bracket on the two sides that'll attach them together nice and sturdy. The interior bread pans I'm going to be making out of styrene. I've got a big sheet of 1/8 inch, which was going to be the same as this. I bought this off the club. So that gives me my recharge port as well as the pocket underneath it. This is 1 inch thick. It's nice and rigid. I also do model kits, so I have plenty of glue that works for this. That's going to mount right there. And then I'll have pieces that will attach this also to this. So all of these interior parts are going to be attached together to form a solid base on the inside of the skin, so there won't be any wobble. It'll be very rigid even when it's detached. There's all my parts for being able to put the decoration stuff in there. I'm hopefully going to have the small doors doing stuff as well. I've got some resin coin slots. That these were legacy, so I chopped them up individually so that way I can just fit them down the row. I need to figure out what the proper length is for these to come out though, because when that's inserted all the way through to the base, that just seems to be a little bit too far poking out. That looks like a cold day at the swimming pool. So that needs to get fixed. I need to figure out the proper length there. There's my dome. Haven't done much with it yet. That's the hot wing dome holder thingy up on top. Here is my custom dome base that I had made. I'm very happy with how that came out. The center piece here, this is a aluminum part that is actually built for lightsabers from the custom saber shop. That is just going through a hole in the center, and then I have a couple more parts screwed in there. I'm going to have on the inside, that's where my slip ring is going to be, as well as a plug where I can detach those wires. So that's going to come up. I've got another plate that sits on top of this. So that is going to go on there like that. This has holes cut for specific tasks and purposes. You know, like the back one is for the periscope, there's for the lifeform scanner. This is for a servo to go right behind the eye. So hopefully I can have a camera mounted back there. Then on top of that, this piece will screw down. Well, it will when I have two hands. This will screw down. That's a pommel for a lightsaber that they make at the store at Custom Saber Shop, and so it's got holes in there for wires to come out. I'm going to have another piece coming off it to go to a third level, which will be just beneath the cap of the dome. So that way I'll be able to mount my internal dome parts on these and not just have everything on the insides of the dome. I've got other parts that have been cut and made, but I'm still working on those, like the outside legs. I need to get that worked out. I've got this right here for the center leg, a slider for the center leg. I've got a shock absorber for the center leg. That's a shock absorber for a bicycle. So that will give it just enough to be able to take some bumps without that shot going straight up. The white thing there, that is a prototype 3D printed case for Raspberry Pi. Not sure if I'm using it or not, but it's something I've had. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Plus I've got a ton of electronic stuff in one of the other rooms. Here is a wider shot of the workshop I'm in. They're transitioning from being mostly wood to using metal. The school wants them to move over to metal type stuff. That thing in the back is a testing platform for training with hydraulics. Got those cabinets in the back. One of those is mine for R2 stuff. There's some more motors. Those are, I believe, both electric and hydraulic based rotors. That piece right there, that is a combination of roller and brake press and shear. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for the thickness of the metal I have, so it honestly hasn't been of much use to me yet. I've got a little saw there, and that is a mill, which has been tremendously helpful. So I can put stuff in there and I can actually make modifications to some parts using the mill. I wish I had a lathe in here. That would be super useful, but I do not. So that's why I've got to find somebody who can turn down those shoulder pieces, because I don't have the equipment to do it. But that's where my stuff is at the moment, and I'll try and put up some pics of the 3D renders of what the plans will look like, and so that way people can see what the weird stuff I've got in mind. Thanks for watching. Bye.